look at this graph. Over 20% of you are already in Masters, and it's only been a month. So unless you've been living under a rock so far this season, you would know that Season 17 has been the worst Apex Legends season so far, and it still has so much time to go. If you've been playing games this season and it felt like maybe you were just going against much harder opponents, or even possibly fighting against higher ranked players while you are a lower rank, this is due to the new ranked matchmaking system they implemented at the start of the season. Now, in previous seasons, ranked matchmaking would go off of your LP or your actual rank. So if you were a diamond player, you would be more than likely playing against other diamond players or around that, gold playing gold, and so on and so forth. But now they are using what's called MMR, which stands for matchmaking rating. Now don't worry, it's something that you can't see, so you don't even know what yours is, so don't bother trying to find it. But it goes off of how well you do in other games and tracks the skill of the player. So let's say you're having an off day, you do your placement matches and you get placed in silver 2. Then the next day you're feeling yourself, you end up dropping 20 kills, and bam, you're playing against diamond players. It's a little bit more fine-tuned skill-based matchmaking, but I personally think the system that they had before, going off LP and rank, was way better. There's just too many ways to trick the MMR to give you easier lobbies like reverse boosting or just hiding and camping, which in the end will just give you more LP and raise your rank. Now realistically, this shouldn't be a problem in the long run because your MMR will eventually level out with your true rank if you're playing the game correctly. Now if you're just sitting there and ratting around the entire time, you will have a low MMR because you're not engaging in fights, but you'll still gain LP and placement points, raising your rank. I do think that they are going to end up using it still and fine-tuning it a little bit better, but man, did they miss the mark on it with this one. Because in theory, it actually is a really good idea, but in practice, it just seems like it's not working out that well. Another big problem that has come up recently is that unless you're playing in those higher MMR lobbies, there have been multiple instances where even if you pop off and drop 20 kills in a game, you may not get any extra kill LP. This is because if the player that you killed doesn't have a high MMR, then you won't be getting any points off of them. So going for kills this season doesn't have much incentive until you get to later games where the points are worth much more, encouraging a lot of ratting and less gunfights in the higher tier rankings. And this is why you see literal Apex Predators with 0 kills for the entire season. You have people reaching the top 750 spots in the world and never getting a single kill. Here's a clip from His Watson, who is a #1 pred multiple times in previous seasons, talking about the issue.
So I've been grinding ranked Apex Legends for about 3 years now, and this is probably the craziest thing I've ever seen. So I was sent this Twitter post where this girl is talking about this person they met in a ranked game. His name is Agate Moth, and they said that out of the jump ship, he didn't land on loot, he landed on the wall, and he ratted there the entire game. And when zone came, he ran and hid in another corner, and then he died. Obviously, they're very frustrated because their teammates not playing with them. What's interesting is that if you look at his RP, like his rank right here, this guy has 78,000 RP, which at the time is almost pred. I mean, he's only a couple thousand away from pred. He's at 82K right now.
So apparently this guy just goes and lands off by himself, doesn't hang out with his teammates, just hides the entire game, and is racking up tons of LP for this.
He's very close to Apex Predator, and this isn't even the craziest part, by the way. He's ratting, and in the comments of this tweet, you have tons of people saying, I've seen this guy before. I had this guy on my team. People are saying they saw him on the enemy team. Saw this guy break off his team. Tons of people. I had this guy on my team yesterday, and they landed in the exact same spot. Tons of people have been seeing this guy. And obviously, I'm not trying to hate on this guy. This is more about the existence of this playstyle, more about him in particular. If you look at his match history, all of these games, all these rows are one game, by the way. So this is a whole game right here. He has no kills. He averages probably 20, 30, 40 games a day, or plays some days, and he'll get maybe 1 kill. So, and this guy is almost Apex Predator. Like, imagine in Valorant you didn't pick up a gun, or in League you didn't buy items. I mean, you would be bronze 4.
Hold on, I'm gonna have to look this guy up for myself now. Good lord, he's already 872nd in the world, and he's still doing the same thing.
And if you look at his ranked gains, he gains RP almost every game. And it's not like he gains a small amount of RP. He gains a lot. So he played 5 games here and he gained 600 something RP. He played 5 games here, he gained 700 RP. He played a couple games here, he gained 1,000 RP. And I'm sure everybody has their opinions about, oh, well, it's a battle royale placement should matter more than kills. I mean, you can have whatever opinion you want, but the reality is that it being to such an extreme like this is insane. I mean, this is just an absolute failure of a ranked system.
Can you believe that? 2 kills a season, and this guy has the highest rank in the game. Like he said, only 750 people in the world can reach this rank. There is no reason that someone should even be able to get close with 0 kills. But with the new MMR, this sort of camping to the top 10 placement and avoiding fights would give this player easier lobbies, even though he is almost in pred. Definitely a huge problem that Apex needs to look into, but like I said, I'm sure they're getting all of this data, and by next season, this probably won't be as big of a problem. And finally, we make our way to the new ranked matchmaking entry cost being changed to only 35 LP across the board, which means it doesn't matter if you are a bronze player or an Apex Predator, it's only going to cost you 35 LP to enter a game. Now, instantly, this is a huge red flag, and I don't even know why they really implemented this. Lower ranks should have a much lower LP to enter, and higher ranks should always have a higher LP to enter. Making it a set amount really doesn't do anything for either side. It's going to allow the lower tiers to just continuously grind and make it higher, which would give you your badges and make you happy, but it would also make it to where you are never going to be able to reach that Predator status unless you play this game 12 hours a day. Making it a set amount just lets the higher ranked players camp and wait until the end game so that they know that they're positive LP already. There is no incentive to go need to get kills, it's just based on placement. So really, whoever just puts in the most time and stays away from the most fights will rise to the top of the highest rankings. Just look at this graph. Over 20% of you are already in Masters, and it's only been a month. Think about that. We are a month into this season, and 20%, more than 20% of you are already in Masters. This will virtually make it impossible to get Apex Predator unless you do this as a full-time job. Just based on the LP that you would have to gain to even get close to the top 750 pred is already over 100,000. And just for reference, last season, the #1 pred ended the season with only 75,000 LP. So we're already well over the #1 pred from last season. And at the rate that it's going, a lot of the top players are going to be well over 1 million LP by the end of the season. So we went from the #1 player having 75,000 LP to over 1 million. Fortunately, all of these problems aren't necessarily game-ending type of problems. They're really just fixes that need to be implemented for next season. They should definitely bring back the scaled entry costs for different ranks. And the introduction to the MMR is actually not a really bad thing, but they need to fine-tune it and change a couple things so that even the players that do sit around and camp the entire game still go up in MMR and aren't placed against even worse players. And elimination points should just be worth way more. It just really encourages every player to go out there and want to drop high kill games and not just worry about placement. And finally, on June 6th, Apex Legends fired their QA testers, which just sounds like they're taking a page out of the old Call of Duty book, making the players be the testers and fix problems in future updates as they come out. Hopefully we get some better changes here soon and updated ranking systems for Season 18. Thanks for watching the video all the way through. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new, and make sure to turn those post notifications on so that you're notified every time we upload.